Okay, now you have a conspiracy theory. There's a group of people who are stopping you from solving your problem. You've blamed society. You don't have an answer. So it must be a conspiracy. There must be some sort, and you're just asking questions. You don't know, right? This is the game that is played by so many corrupt commentators, just asking questions. I don't have to show you evidence that something terrible is happening. I don't have to actually demonstrate how the thing is happening. I don't have to tell you who the problem is. Wink, wink.
After October 7th happened, I remember I was tweeting out like, listen, somebody take the phone away from Ben. He needs a break. He needs to go back, be with his family. And I'm not just talking about over the weekend. I'm talking about all together. I totally can get it because that is where his people are, Israel. He's just been so just on a 100, on 200, if that's even a thing. Now, the thing is, though, running into a problem where he's just reacting so much that he doesn't care how he reacts, because there's so much coming out now about Ben Shapiro. It's just kind of ridiculous, like it is. This is when you make a professional decision to step away from the limelight and just kind of say, let me fall back, because it's been one thing after another. Candace Owens has seemingly responded as well to this gag order. So Candace Owens has actually responded to the gag order without responding. This is an older tweet. And when the tweet came out, I wasn't sure what she was saying or what the point was for it, but now I see. This is Vivek Ramaswamy talking about, people putting gag orders on Donald Trump.
I spent 3 years at Yale Law School. If the professors there care an iota about justice and fairness, they would be teaching this as a paradigmatic case of prosecutorial abuse, because that's what this is. A gag order to stop a U.S. presidential candidate in the middle of an election from responding to political attacks is an affront to the First Amendment.
It definitely is. I think all gag orders really are affronts to the First Amendment, but I understand private things. I understand private companies, but yeah, on a federal level, it certainly is. And so he's right with what he's saying, but this was her response to it. Like, this was her tweeting about it, but you could tell it's the response to the gag order that the Daily Wire has placed on it. Totally agree with this. Using the court system to gag people from responding in capital letters to hostile political attacks is an affront to the First Amendment. But I'm glad it's happening to Trump, because it's fostering a much needed conversation. It's about as far as she can go with it.
Ben Shapiro feels very free to say the most vicious condemnations of the U.S. government and of American political leaders. Listen to how he talks about Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or Bill Clinton and the government of the United States in general. You can say the most vicious things you want about the United States and still be perfectly fine at the Daily Wire. They do it all the time. What you can't do is criticize this one foreign government. Then you're outside of the Overton window and then you have to leave. And this is the ethos that the American right in general, the pro-Israel sector of the American right, working with the Democratic Party, has been implementing. That is what is so repressive about that law that we covered last night.
And Glenn Greenwald is talking about the anti-Semitism bill that came out, which we will talk about too. We're covering a few things on this episode, right? But he's right. This is a thing on the right. Like, look, on this channel, we talk about the truth. We bring the asteroid of reality. And thank you for watching. If you guys have not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and the notification bell. There's a lot going on in media, and we need people to just stop with all of this bias type virtue signaling media to finally just talk about the reality, the truth, and what's really going on out here. That's it. I don't care how you vote. I just want to hear realistic news. At this point, there's just too much going on. And so now this is the right eating itself alive, right? With this whole situation in Israel, which, let's keep it real. Like, let's really keep it real. I'm not shocked that this is happening in any fashion. The minute October 7th happened, I was like, well, there goes the Republican Party, or there goes the conservative movement of anti-war, all of it. Everybody's going to get ready to be hypocritical. I mean, that's just, they're going to be hypocrites. I mean, it just simply is what it is. The whiplash that I got from us saying we didn't have enough money to send to Ukraine, so we have to stand with Israel, it really made my neck hurt. I mean, like, let's keep it real, right? And it's not about, if you're pro-Israel, you can be pro whatever you want. But again, the point is, if I don't have $5 for Tom, how do I have it for Susie?
And now the Twitter account Censored Men, which first broke exclusive inside information about the Candace Owens Daily Wire beef, revealing emails from inside the Daily Wire, which nobody at the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring including, denied were false, fake, and then later it turned out that was obviously true. Now they're saying that they have a source that Ben Shapiro is working behind the scenes, and this makes perfect sense, to discredit Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Andrew Tate, who I do think is actually a clown, and Charlie Kirk. And if you just take a look at some of the stories over at Mediaite, you could see that they've been quite obsessed with nitpicking Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Look at all these stories just recently, and Charlie Kirk, people going a little bit too far to the right. So then conservative Inc. has to deploy their assets, their little friends in the media.
So he's right about that, because Charlie Kirk there, and that's a whole thing where now TPUSA is trying to decouple themselves from Candace Owens, because, you know, it's coming out that there's a TPUSA Israel that's saying, oh, we're not, you know, Candace Owens, because she's supposed to speak at a TPUSA event, but the website says that Charlie Kirk, you know, he doesn't align with her beliefs. He doesn't, you know, get along with her or whatever. Like, goes on this whole virtue signaling, you know, and more than that, just this begging, you know, knees on the ground. Listen, I'm sorry that I know Candace and I shouldn't be friends with her type of thing. It's the most baffling thing to me. But also, Charlie Kirk was the same person after October 7th happened, who went on PBD podcast and was saying, how did October 7th happen?
I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead.
And then he got called an anti-Semite for saying that. I mean, it was, yeah, I thought Turning Point USA, I thought it was done for them, but it's not. But apparently, Ben Shapiro has been using Isaac Shoher to come out and put out this type of information, you know, just writing smear articles about other people in the conservative movement. So this is like a serious conservative infighting, which is now's not the right time when World War III is almost like right around the corner as far as I'm concerned. Why are we doing this now? Like, we have a lot of problems in this country that we need to be focused on, and this is what they're doing.
The yays are 320, the nays are 91. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So what this is that it's a bill, it's an anti-Semitism bill that takes on the IHRA's definition of anti-Semitism, which will serve as certain prerequisites for different kind of crimes and stuff in college campuses. And if they come out with the other bill that they're working on, it'll get tacked on to the Patriot Act. I need to just devote a whole episode to it because this is just a lot to keep up with. And I think, in fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And as if Ben didn't have enough going on, right? You know, he's been already exposed as not caring about freedom of speech, even though his brand is built on that. He's allegedly helping people write bad articles about other people in the conservative movement. I believe it to be true because, again, Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro did not. They could have came out with a defamation lawsuit on censorment. They didn't. They didn't say anything at all about it. There are whistleblowers in the Daily Wire now. This is what it's turned into. All of this and all around the week of.
Meanwhile, under fire, because he has decided to bring back self-declared anti-Semite Nick Fuentes. Fuentes has been not on the service since 2021. And Elon had said in the past that he didn't want to bring back Fuentes, and I had actually advocated that Fuentes be unbanned, despite the fact that Fuentes obviously has personal problems with me and really, really hates Jews and the like. And so Elon Musk put out a statement saying, very well, he will be reinstated provided he does not violate the law and let him be crushed by the comments and community notes. It is better to have anti-whatever out in the open to be rebutted than grow simmering in the darkness. Okay, well, I agree with him on principle. On points, he's right. Right? Elon says, I cannot claim to be a defender of free speech, but then permanently ban someone who hasn't violated the law, no matter how much I disagree with what they say. This will probably cause us to lose a lot of advertisers and makes me sad, but a principle is a principle. So good for him. Good for him. Again, I think that Nick Fuentes routinely says terrible things all the time, including directly targeting me and violently threatening me on a show by like stabbing a knife into the desk and talking about running me down in Grand Theft Auto and all that. Whatever. I don't care. Still free speech, so long as he's not actively violently inciting. And so bring him back to X. Will it make X less usable? Just in terms of not having your mentions filled with garbage? Sure. Also, that's not what
it's just out of pocket. I mean, my gosh, just block him. That's it. All you have to do is just block him. I mean, you hear the way he's talking. It's already like, oh, it's going to make X less usable because you're going to have all those horrible mentions in your timeline. All you have to do, you know what? Forget block, right? You want to know there's a better option on X where you can go and mute a certain word, like, I don't know, ice cream cake, whatever, Israel, whatever. You can mute Nick Fuentes. You definitely can mute him. So you won't even hear anything about this person anymore on your Twitter. And you go back to the Twitter that you used to be on. No, it won't make Twitter less usable. And let's keep it real. Ben knows that. You see, Elon says, I'm going to lose advertisers over this. That's a problem. That's really a problem. But Ben knows that it won't make Twitter any less usable. In fact, not only will it not make Twitter any less usable, Nick Fuentes held the space last night. And I think 1 million people tuned into the space. It was on a Mario space. I mean, like, come on, y'all. Like, let's not say it's, this in context as far as movement in the app, it will make the app better because that name, people still want to hear what he has to say, no matter how much they act like they don't want to hear it. They just want to talk about him. They do.
Not a Republican. The Republican Party is not our party. Everyone thinks that because they're not Democrats, that they're ours. Everyone thinks that because Ben Shapiro isn't a Democrat, that he's ours. They are not ours. Ben Shapiro is not on our side. The Republican Party is not on our side. We don't control them. Our priorities are not their priorities. The GOP, the Daily Wire, Fox News, the New York Post, all that stuff is controlled by Israel.
And we'll stop right there. So, that's what I mean. This person is just saying what they've collected the data to find out. Look, in the end, what we're seeing happening is a serious fissure in the right-wing media landscape. The only thing I will say about this person being reinstated on X, what will happen is a lot of these conservative big con pundits who've been getting a lot of attention and kind of just coasting on through by just saying just enough, it's not going to work anymore. I'm not saying this person needs to go online and start, just saying whatever and it's coming out with the old thing. No, but he's still going to speak a certain way that they don't speak. You hear what he said? I'm not a Republican. And when he says he's not a Republican, I can understand why. I'm registered Republican. I understand. And I'm kind of getting into myself just a little too much. I know y'all don't care. I don't feel Republican. I don't feel like the Republicans are my party. I don't. What is going on with the border? Right? I've been hearing about other countries. Matter of fact, let me give y'all some respect. So out of respect, let me just go ahead and report on it. Mexico's migrant busing spree, a lifeline for Biden on border crisis expert. A springtime lull in illegal border crossing could be the result of increased enforcement efforts by the Mexican government to help Biden. Okay. The Biden administration responds to bad optics. And then the numbers reached a new high in December. And it's no coincidence that when the secretaries met with the Mexican officials, and then all of a sudden the numbers dropped. So it was something that could have already been done. The comments come as the number of illegal crossings at the U.S. southern border with Mexico have continued to decline from all-time high in December, dipping from nearly 302,000 that month to to just over 193,000 in March. Okay, so in March we had about 193,000. That's still not normal. That's still not normal. But the fact that they were able to do this is a Trump policy to work with Mexico, to tell Mexico, you know. So you see what I mean? So we have problems. We have things going on. That's still not normal. That number used to be like a number for like the year, you know, that it was still in a month. So again, I don't feel like the Republicans are working for me. The conservatives are over there fighting each other and going through a bunch of confusion. So it leaves you with a very small amount of people to go to for news. I found myself going a lot of times to quote left-wingers, Jimmy Dore, the gray zone, or going outside of the country. It's crazy, but good thing we have Bring the Asteroid. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next episode.